I'm Zach,
And I'm Lindsay.
and today we're going to be shining a little spotlight on Xbox acquiring Bethesda.
So, the other day, Xbox, out of nowhere, bought Bethesda for $7.5 billion. This took a
Cash.
lot of us by surprise. Um, but now we're going to kind of get into the nitty gritty of what this actually means for the next gen consoles and what this means for other consoles like the Switch, PlayStation, and PC. So
Yeah,
Bethesda has a good bit of titles under their belt. They have of course, Fallout and Doom, but they're also the publisher behind Dishonored, Wolfenstein, Elder Scrolls, Starfield, The Evil Within, and Prey. So that gives Microsoft a whole lot of new titles that could be exclusives, um, which I think they're sorely lacking in right now. What do you think
yeah.
Microsoft is going to do with this situation?
I imagine the tried and true franchises, so let's say Fallout and the Elder Scrolls franchise, those aren't going to be exclusives because if you think about it, they're going to make more money if they put those games on the console that has sold the most, which I mean, let's be honest, it's PS5's going to outsell the Xbox Series X and the S. And if they don't have a Game Pass like system, they're charging $70 for these games. So Microsoft is making hand over fist, putting their games on another platform. But now the smaller games, the Evil Within's, the Dishonored, uh, uh, Prey, Wolfenstein, those next ones I think are definitely going to be exclusive to the Xbox because if you put those four together, and I honestly I think Starfield, since it hasn't been officially announced, it's a new IP. It's not going to do super well. I think Microsoft is going to get behind that and put it at least exclusive for a year on Xbox, and then it'll probably come to PlayStation a year later because we got to remember, uh, Elder Scrolls Morrowind is still exclusive to Xbox consoles. It's never come to PlayStation, and Oblivion was exclusive at least for a year on Xbox,
Mm.
and Skyrim was exclusive for 2 years on Xbox because they couldn't figure out how to port it to PlayStation. So Bethesda has always been tied with Microsoft, so they're definitely going to use this to their advantage. And I mean, honestly, they should. This was a good get.
Yeah, I think this is a really good call on Xbox's side to try and fix that big problem they keep running into of no exclusives. Um,
Yeah,
Now, the one thing that kind of worries me is they've bought a lot of other studios in the past and kind of run them into the ground. They keep, working on these new IPs and then they never see the light of day and half these studios close. I do not think that
yeah,
will be the case with Bethesda, especially with the amount of
no,
money that Microsoft is dumping into them. I just hope that they can leave them alone enough to continue the quality of games that they've already had. But I can't agree with you
yeah,
enough. I definitely think that we'll probably see some games from Bethesda be a Microsoft exclusive or maybe a timed exclusive. And I definitely see other games, like bigger selling games, also coming to PlayStation simply because Microsoft would lose so much money if they didn't do that. And there's already
yeah.
some
And what's
precedents. Microsoft
yeah,
bought Minecraft, and
yeah,
Minecraft came out on the PlayStation. So there already is a precedent showing that even Microsoft owned studios will come out on competing consoles, but
yep.
especially for some of the other ones, I could definitely see either a permanent exclusive or a timed exclusive to get people into the Xbox ecosystem.
Yeah, and you got to think like let's say Fallout or the next Elder Scrolls or whatever, maybe even Starfield. It's coming out day one, both consoles, PS5, Xbox Series X. But on launch, if you're on PlayStation, you're paying $70 for that game. But if you're Xbox, or even if you don't have an Xbox, get Game Pass. $15, you can get it. Bam, like that. That's a crazy deal that they can tote in front of every single game that they have. Hey, just get Game Pass. That's all it is. You don't got to buy a $500 console. Just get a $15 subscription to Game Pass and you can play it. Play it on your phone.
Yeah, and see, that's another really big thing that Xbox has on their side too. This really makes, getting a Game Pass through Xbox a much better value because now not only are
Yeah,
they going to be adding in all the newer Bethesda titles, but you'd better believe they're going to be adding in their whole older games too, all that back catalog is
yeah.
going to start showing up in the Xbox Game Pass. And a lot of people still love those games and want to play those games. So that makes the case to get Game Pass even stronger.
Yeah, and remember a few weeks ago, Microsoft announced they were partnering with EA, and EA Access is coming to Game Pass. So all of the sports games are going to be there as well. Like they're getting, they are doing the best that they can to become a platform. And we can go all day thinking about what's going to happen, speculating, what Game Pass is going to be. But I totally, and I don't think you'll agree, but I think Game Pass is going to be on PlayStation 5 within the next 5 years. I think Xbox is going to. They bullied PlayStation into crossplay. I think they can bully them into allowing Game Pass to go on their platform. All they have to do is tote, hey, Fallout 6 or Fallout 5, Elder Scrolls 6, you want it. Let's put Game Pass on your platform. You can take the cut if you want, but we want our subscription on there. It's no different than Netflix being on PlayStation or something like that. It could be a direct competition, but I think Sony, if they get bullied into like, oh look, you don't have a subscription service. What's wrong with you? I'm not paying $70 for your games. They can kind of put them in a corner, and Sony's going to be like, okay, yeah, just put Game Pass on the PlayStation. We'll have it so that way the PR of Sony isn't kicked to the curb because they're refusing to play ball with Microsoft because we know it worked before with crossplay.
Well, I think that Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation, I would not say it's impossible, but I would say it's like
Yeah,
highly unlikely. Um,
yeah,
because you have to think about this, like, okay, Xbox is getting the money from Game Pass. They probably have to pay a slight commission if they were to put it onto PlayStation, but PlayStation would be losing so much more money for not doing a similar service and getting that subscription fee. Or, the best way that these companies make money is people buying games off the store because that gives them 100% of that revenue. There's no product to ship out, there's no shipping fees, there's no packaging fees, there's no cost to make that product physically. It's just a digital download. So that is, by far the bread and butter of these, companies. But as we shift more and more over to these, Game Pass and PlayStation Now like services, these Netflix services, I definitely think that um, what we saw out of Microsoft probably caught PlayStation by surprise, but at the same time, PlayStation already has a similar program, PlayStation Now. They just
yeah,
don't really push it as much. I definitely think that with Microsoft doing all of this, there's going to be a much bigger push for PlayStation Now to try and catch up and compete with Xbox Game Pass. And I think we kind of saw a little bit of Sony adding some extra stuff in to try and catch up with the was it the PlayStation collection? When you buy a PlayStation 5, you get like 10 of like the
yeah,
best PlayStation 4 games automatically for the
yeah,
PlayStation 5 as more or less like a patch to try and take some of the sting away from Xbox kind of rubbing Game Pass in PlayStation's face. But I mean, Sony isn't dumb. I definitely think that they were probably caught a little off guard and focused on the new console, and Xbox really didn't focus on the new console near as much. They're focusing
yeah,
more on their subscription service and looking past the console as a whole. So that being said, I think the time is going to be for Sony to reorient, and a year from now, 2 years from now, we'll see. You know, I about guarantee you they will be pushing PlayStation Now hard to try and catch up with Microsoft.
Yeah, I have some theories. I feel like Konami is being looked at by Sony, not the company as a whole, but their gaming division that they're just not doing anything with. If Sony were to do that, they'd have the license and the rights to the Metal Gear Solid franchise, the Silent Hill franchise, the Castlevania franchise, and the Pro Evolution Soccer franchise, which is almost bigger than FIFA in some countries. So, and Konami, I can't imagine is they're not making a lot of money from their video games. They just sell pachinko machines. So I imagine they'd be willing to at least work with Sony, and that would be a huge gift. But that's also like a fever dream. Now a fear that I have is that this isn't the end for Microsoft, in that they're going to buy more studios, and the CEO of Microsoft, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's the head of all of Microsoft. He said that they're looking into more acquisitions, and my fear is that they go after either CD Projekt Red or From Software.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they end up doing. I don't know if they'd go
Yeah,
after From Software per se. I mean the Dark Souls and Demon Souls games and Armored Core stuff is fairly popular now, but that's pretty much like their sole stuff. They don't have near as much variety as some of the other
yeah,
studios like Bethesda. And I mean, who knows how popular those games will be continuing on? And there's a lot of other games, you're starting to see kind of take some of the formula of, Dark Souls and Demon Souls. So that one would probably be a little more iffy, I would think, on the side of Microsoft acquiring. Um,
yeah.
but
Maybe
a
Sony. Maybe
studio.
Sony buys From Software.
Do what?
Maybe Sony comes out and buys From Software. They already got a relationship with them with Demon Souls and Bloodborne.
Yeah. I
That'd
don't
be
know. It'd be
crazy. But
really
yeah,
interesting to see. I think right now,
yeah,
Microsoft is definitely trying to play catch up on the exclusives because, apart from what was it the constant, trolling out of Halo, Forza, and Gears of War. I mean, Xbox doesn't really have any exclusives anymore, and Sony, just keeps churning out exclusives. Spider-Man, God of War, um, what was it, Horizon Zero Dawn, now Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, they
yeah.
just
They're
keep,
all quality.
yeah, like super high quality stuff that bring people in. Um, and Xbox doesn't really have that, so I think Xbox acquiring Bethesda was a much needed move for Microsoft to justify, people coming and getting an Xbox. I mean, especially
Yeah.
when, one of their big flagship titles, Halo, really kind of underwhelmed people when they showed it off. So that's, you only have, three big like pillars that you stand on, and now one of them is starting to crumble a little. Yeah, I'd be freaking out if I was Xbox too.
The fact that they kept this a secret until the day before pre-orders went live was impressive too. That has to be stated.
Oh yeah, I am sure that as far as like contracts to keep people quiet, like they were pretty much like if anyone mentions a word of this to anybody, like you will be sued into oblivion kind of deal.
Yeah, they were like, "We will kill you. We will actually kill you." Because that was impressive, and it was whoever came up with the deal and came up with getting it out there the day before pre-orders, like that was grade A genius. And coming off of the disaster of a pre-order the PS5 was, that's good for them. But I mean, to be fair, the Xbox pre-order was in some cases worse because everybody knew exactly when to pre-order it.
Yeah, I still thought that was kind of funny too, because Xbox. really kind of got to lay into PlayStation for screwing up the pre-orders and was like, "Oh my God, you're an idiot! How could you screw that up?" And I'm like, "Okay, you can say that, but that means you have to have yours rock solid and learn from their mistakes, and you didn't."
Yeah, yeah, it was a disaster. Like there was more people saying that, like, they benefited from Sony's release of pre-orders being staggered because they were able to like keep up and keep track. But people with those bots, they were ready as soon as it hit 11 for Xbox. It was known everywhere. Everyone knew, 11 a.m. at least in the Eastern time. So, but it looks like we're going to be getting more consoles of both PlayStation and Xbox, available throughout the year. So it seems like they're going to have an abundance of it, at least a little more than what they have initially.
Yeah, and that's one thing I think's gonna happen with both of them is, for something this big with so many people, it's gonna be very difficult for that very first pre-order. But as time goes on, they'll open up new pre-orders and new stuff, and everyone who wants a console is going to be able to get one. I would not worry if you don't have a pre-order already.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. If you haven't gotten a pre-order yet, just wait. You'll get a chance. If not, you could walk into Target on release day and there could be one there. Because you got to think there's going to be a lot of people not wanting to go inside stores right now, so you could be able to walk into one and find one pretty easily. At least, hopefully.
All right, with that being said, tell us what you think about Microsoft's purchase of Bethesda. Good idea? Bad idea? Great idea? I guess we can find out. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, or subscribe.